become a crucial question in relation to debates instituted by the Australian Republican movement is the Australian head of state. This was chosen by the Republicans in the 90s when they were called upon to explain why we should make this major constitutional change. And for a number of years, the change was explained by an increasingly ridiculous number of reasons. Perhaps the most ridiculous was that advanced by Al Grasby, who'd been a minister in the Whitlam government, who was a prominent politician and a leading Republican, and he said that the reason why we must change to a republic is that the Crown was the reason why we had so much unemployment in Australia at the time. And if we became a republic, it would improve the rate of employment in Australia. There were other reasons given, for example, that the Indonesians didn't understand our constitution, as though that were of any relevance. The French didn't understand our constitution, and this would improve trade or other matters. Eventually, they came upon the term head of state. The term was so esoteric in the 90s that it didn't even appear in the first edition of the Macquarie Dictionary, which was the relevant edition at the time. The term head of state is a term used in international law in relation to the position a country has, and when that person travels overseas, the degree of immunity that that person has, or that group of people have, and the respect to which they should be received in another country. It's really about international travel by vice-regal persons in relation to Australia. It was not and is not a term in our constitution. It has gradually been brought into foreign constitutions, firstly in fascist Spain in the 30s, then in France, fascist France during the 40s, but not generally in English-speaking countries. What is very clear from what the politicians say and what the Australian government says is that the Australian head of state is not the Queen. The Australian head of state is the Governor-General, and the Governor-General is entitled to be received as the Australian head of state overseas. This has become the theme of all Republicans, even those who are government ministers and who know that the head of state of Australia is the Governor-General. And this is always inserted into questions which Republicans put through some of the opinion pollsters, so that the question, instead of being as it used to be, are you in favour of Australia becoming a republic, the essential poll became, are you in favour of Australia becoming a republic with an Australian head of state? The suggestion being that we don't already have an Australian head of state. Now that is worth a number of points in opinion polls. That is why they use it. If you add the words with an Australian head of state, the people voting think that we don't already have an Australian head of state, and this increases the yes vote. I have calculated that it's worth about 8%. It is incorrect in law to say that we don't have an Australian head of state. The Governor-General is the Australian head of state, is received overseas as the Australian head of state, and all government officials, when they are so sending him, refer to him as the Australian head of state.